Okay. Itomek Skanatoni. It is the morning of February 18th, Saturday, 2017. Going into the last quarter of the lunar cycle Sametsikisum, the deceptive moon, which is our leap year, basically. And I'm doing my daily walk to the coulee. Most days I do this in the evening, but this morning I'm gonna go out. I just finished teaching language classes online, which is typical for me on Saturday mornings. And I missed my weekly update for Thursday. I actually did get out and try to do it, but I lost sunlight. So saved it and thought I would take care of it really quickly this morning, because my last update was on Sunday, not that long ago, and pretty much what's been going on for me this week has been my new Bestot soap program. My transition program for people moving off the reserve into Lethbridge to find work. And we really kicked it off, I think. I mean, it was definitely an intense week, I think, for myself and for the other participants. Most of us are not used to doing a full week, 40-hour kind of work week, and so that alone made it kind of intense, having to be there at 8:30 in the morning and stay there till 4:30 in the afternoon, and having a schedule and that kind of thing. On top of that, I made it quite challenging because I threw in, like on Wednesday, we had an offering sweat. And I had set it up to do it at the University of Lethbridge, but just so happened that morning the winds kicked up, got a little breezy here in Lethbridge, as it hardly ever is. Those of you who watch my videos will know that where I live is often very breezy. So yeah, we got a little breeze. It kicked up more than 25 kilometers per hour. And so the fire marshal came out and shut us down. Yeah, he told us we couldn't do it in the city if the winds were more than 25 kilometers an hour, which is nothing, So we ended up carpooling out to the north end of the reserve, other side of the river, and took care of the sweat anyway. But it made for a very laborious and emotionally challenging day. My diplomacy wasn't all there when the fire chief came over. I asked him, when he was approaching, I said, "Gee, I hope you have good news." And he's like, "Sorry, no." And it kind of sucks, because a big part of the messaging for my program is that Lethbridge is just as much a Blackfoot place as the reserve, that we can feel at home here. That's part of the transition, is you can be Blackfoot and you can be in Lethbridge. But obviously, in this case, that got thrown back in my face. And so another big part of the messaging in my program is that we're ambassadors. All of us who practice Blackfoot traditions, who live in Lethbridge, we're ambassadors. And yeah, this week we may not have been able to do that sweat, but as frustrating as that might be, you know, not to be able to do it here where we live. The doors are open for more conversation now, because the people, you know, who had to come out and enforce something that's on paper that has nothing to do with humans, and that this is where the cultural difference lies, you know. We wouldn't have been shut down if it wasn't for paper. If it was just up to people, we'd have been allowed to continue. But that's how, in a way, the mainstream safeguards itself, is by putting things on paper and making the paper the responsibility bearer. Inanimate objects and corporations, papers and corporations become faux humans, so that real humans can lay the blame on those things. Any case, here in the city of Lethbridge, we need to change our paper. We need to change what's there, what's written on that paper. And so, because all the humans in this case were affected initially by our request, and then by the lead up, and then by the disappointment when we got wind. I don't think there was anybody in the system that wasn't affected that wanted to have this, have our sweat fail. But it was the paper. So we got to change the paper, and the doors are open for that, because the people are affected. The people are feeling bad. The people are wishing that things didn't have to go that way. So I think we're gonna carve that path, you know, for future generations, for sure. Hopefully for ourselves, that we could carry out Orthodox Blackfoot ceremonies here in town. But it's a good learning tool. It's good for the program that I'm running. It's a good example that even though Lethbridge has always been a Blackfoot place, you know, there's the historical photographs of Sundances being carried out right in my backyard here. Today we have this challenge of being ambassadors, and that's not to lay it all on our shoulders either, because, you know, in some ways you got to look at it and say, who has the learning disability? This is what the late Narcissus Blood used to ask. I mean, none of this is new. We're not the first ones to try to put up a sweat here in Lethbridge. None of this is new. The first ones to have a complication, the first ones to have a problem. That's why there hasn't been sweats here for a long time. So who has the learning disability is the question. Who is incapable of adaptation? And it looks to me, you know, more like the other side. At the same time, I can't allow myself to get so cynical that I give up on the trial. And I don't want to transfer any cynicism to the young people in my program who are going to face this obstacle every day. Every day, they're in a different cultural world here in Lethbridge. They're walking in two cultural worlds at once, and you know, many times, if not every day, are faced with similar dilemmas where it's hard to feel at home when somebody's piece of paper that has nothing to do with your tradition is the law, you know. That's what it comes down to. But I don't know. I got high hopes for this group. You know, not that gigantic changes will necessarily come from this endeavor that I'm involved in, but it's only 10 weeks. But 10 weeks, I mean, a moment can be transformative. 10 weeks can hopefully be helpful for a group of less than 20 people. 10 weeks is what it takes to turn a boy straight out of home into a soldier in the military. "10 weeks is nothing to scoff at." I had a lot of elders in this week. The participants were connecting a lot better with the younger elders. People like myself, my age group. I've been bringing in folks in our age group because those who have transfer rights and who have the background, you know, to speak to Blackfoot traditional knowledge. Because as I saw this week, the young participants don't connect as well with the older generations. I brought in Pete Standing Alone, who is this year 88 years old, still very lucid, slowing down a little bit, but still pretty lucid. And this guy's been Nanapska, he's been Itzkanai, he's one of the, you know, in terms of the Horn Society, he's one of the top elders in existence. And he was on tribal council. He's been a leader of the Blood Tribe community. He's seen a lot in his years. And the participants in my program, when confronted with Pete, I don't know if they got it. I mean, he shared some pretty cool life history stories with them that would connect Blackfoot values with the experience of working off reserve and with the experiences of entrepreneurship. You know, he spoke, for instance, of a dream he had that led him to buy a particular horse that that grew his herd into the many hundreds of horses. He spoke of his refusal to go home while out trying to make something of himself at work, because to go home would be a failure if he hadn't succeeded in some manner first. And I don't know if they all got that. I'm sure some did, but and he was there, like, ready to answer questions, and I asked him several questions, and there was some of the participants that asked him questions, but the majority just sat there and didn't have anything to ask. And it, you know, the reality is this might be their only chance to ask Pete Standing Alone a question. I hope it's not, but we never know. Pete's 88 years old. So getting a phone message. So yeah, that's the kind of stuff I've been dealing with in my week. I think overall it was really good. I feel like it was a successful week. All 18 participants stuck it out. Learned a lot, hopefully, had some fun, and had some hardship. Did it together. I can see them bonding, and I'm having fun. I'm enjoying it, and I'm hoping the best for all of them, and I'm fearing the fall of a few of them. It's almost like they're my children, hey, and I want the best for them, but there's some, you know, you can't control the destiny of anybody, right? So they choose their own path. So we'll see where it goes. It'll be fun for week 2. One down, 9 to go. Again.